essential, and I think opportunity zones have really brought this to the forefront, is, you know, it is about placemaking. It is about that emotional connection. And obviously, Lawrence, you've got that emotional connection with Cleveland. Chris, you know, with Rochester. You know, for me, I'm in Tennessee. Northeast Tennessee is a beautiful area. I live in Nashville, but Tennessee is like, it's kind of the it state right now. Everybody wants to be here, wants to visit here, you know, and so it's really cool. You know, the pandemic has, you know, Chris and I were talking about this. The pandemic has really shown that virtual relationships are a thing, and you know, you can be anywhere and create these really strong relationships. Kingsport is phenomenal in the fact that it is so centrally located. You know, if you look at this, and again, I'm gonna breeze through this, but it's a historic downtown, and we've got a urban synergy. We've been at it for 20 years doing downtown redevelopment, adaptive reuse of these old buildings. You know, really pulling back the layers, showing the cool features, the exposed brick walls, the exposed beams. You know, beautiful 100-year-old maple floors, and you know, just incredible stuff like that. So, but then we're also looking at, you know, how we strategically combine them together. So overall, we've got 23 properties. 15 of those are actually opportunity zone qualifying properties. We've got 207,000 square feet, 12.85 million, so 62 a square foot. Again, these are structures that you could not build for 62 a square foot, and it's all in an opportunity zone. So this is the question I get. Kingsport, okay, where exactly is that? So it's very centralized. It's within a day's drive of 70% of the U.S. population, and this is, it's been put on a stage because, you know, global pandemic has shown that people are like, okay, want to get out of the major metros, want to get to a place where, you know, I can have good quality of life, I can breathe a little bit, you know, good cost of living, you know. So all these components are coming to the surface that make Kingsport a diamond in the rough for sure. But literally, you can get so many places in 6 hours. You can get to DC in 6 hours. You can get to Charleston, South Carolina, the beach in 6 hours, 5.5 hours. Atlanta 4.5, Nashville 4, Charlotte 3, Asheville an hour. And you've got all this stuff, but you can also literally be out the back door, fly fishing on a river in 10 minutes, or you can be mountain biking, you know, in 15 minutes. It's so many cool things that are there, that are available, that people are looking to do. Again, it's about those experiences that they're creating, you know, with themselves, but also with their family. I'm not going to go into a ton of this, but you know, Kingsport it's a history of trailblazing, of innovation, of discovery. You know, everything from Daniel Boone and blazing the westward expansion, to Eastman coming there, you know, being an innovator. You know, obviously one of our great things is the, you know, claim to fame is the Long Island iced tea. You know, we initiated that in 1920. I know the people in Long Island, New York think they did, but that was in 1970. That was the disco era, you know, that 50 years after us. So 1940s, again, the global impact, Eastman and Oak Ridge National Laboratory collaborating to create the components for the atomic bomb, again, had global impact. But then super glue in the 1950s, you know, maybe one of the best inventions.
I'm going to hold the Long Island iced tea thing against you because you're the one that created it.
Yeah. Yeah. All sorts of chaos came out of that, right? So basically it's a, you know, it was a blank canvas, you know, in the turn of the century, right? So the automobile was coming on board. So they literally had the ability to create this, the perfect industrial city. And that's what they did. So they brought in the best of the best. They brought in the Steve Glickman of American town planning, right? They brought him down, said, okay, how are we going to make this, you know, incredible? So again, wide streets, sidewalks, infrastructure. They had the alleys, they had grid system, very, very flat, very developable, and surrounded it with industry and with the residential components. So very well laid out, interconnected. John Nolan, you know, they planned his office was in Harvard Square. So again, best of the best. They did over 400 planning projects in his career. Kingsport was actually the largest new town built in North America between 1915 and 1965, which is a phenomenal fact. But later in his life, he described Kingsport as his most significant career town planning accomplishment. So that says a lot because this guy was everywhere. So to put it in perspective, Asheville, North Carolina, a lot of people recognize that. They know where that is. It's 209 acres. Downtown Kingsport's 254 acres. Asheville has succeeded despite the fact that if you look at this, there's no symmetry to it, not a grid system, not wide streets. It literally just happened like so many cities do in the U.S. It's very hilly terrain. They don't have alleys. So infrastructure wise is very difficult, but they've succeeded despite that. It's been an incredible draw. And then when you pair the 152 acres that's adjacent, there's actually an RFP for a multifamily and residential component on that 152 acres to go along with some of the outdoor recreation components, like a bike park, hiking trail, skate park that are going on this 152 acres. Really absolutely phenomenal that this is in our downtown core, all in an opportunity zone. Again, the comparison, population wise, both around 500,000. Kingsport MSA is actually a little bit larger than Asheville. Climate, natural beauty, outdoor recreation, very comparable. The entry price is a whole lot less in Kingsport than it is in Asheville. Asheville is very, very expensive. A lot of their buildings are selling for $400, $500, $600 a square foot. And it's funny because I talked to a fund manager and he said, my partner and I have been looking at Asheville. We view it as the Colorado of the East. So we've been banging our heads against the wall, trying to figure out an opportunity zone there. And he's like, there aren't really any. And the community doesn't really want development. Their building department is not very accommodating, but see, we've got all those things. So we've got that plus the cost of living, the taxes and that sort of thing. So again, I was like, well, just come an hour over the mountain and you've got Colorado to the East in Kingsport. So again, placemaking is absolutely huge. Urban synergy. We've been at this for 20 years, adaptive reuse. These are examples of the 15 properties that we have in the portfolio. So some of them aren't finished, but there is still room for substantial improvement, which is key. Again, the integration into the urban fabric. It's a really well laid out downtown, and you can see right here. This is the new city hall that they're building. They're moving into. All our properties are right around the core: Broad Street, Center Street here, Market Street. So all of that is in the walkable environment. And again, 62 a square foot makes a ton of sense. There was a master plan that was done just a couple of years ago, and Urban 3 is actually a consulting group out of Asheville. They said downtown Kingsport is the epicenter of property value potency within the city. Tons of people are in there. It's everywhere you look. U-Haul, Tennessee is the #1 state, leapfrogged everybody. People are moving to Tennessee by so many reasons. This is really interesting though, as far as the growth cities in 2020, one-way moves, Kingsport was number 12 on that in the whole nation. It's the tip of the iceberg. People are wanting to get away from where they are. And as Warren Buffett says, the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing 7.5 million small businesses are at risk of closing. And over half, by a survey in Yelp, over half of restaurants, the 24,000 restaurants that were surveyed, over half have permanently closed. So we've got to do something as a country. We've got to do something dramatically different. All the sectors that were tried and true are no longer tried and true. So people are having to do things differently. Kingsport is an absolutely incredible place for that. And as Chris and I talked about, there's this marriage between business and opportunity zone. It's not just a real estate deal, it's about the business component. And so many of you guys know about that. And that's where we are, right? So people want to be where they can, be accessible to outdoor recreation, where they can live life, but also be accessible to so many entrepreneurial resources. And that's the thing. So the outdoor recreation industry can come alongside the chemical industry in Eastman and be able to really innovate. Again, Colorado to the east, we've got so many stats, but literally we're sandwiched in between Great Smoky Mountain National Park, 12.5 million visitors a year, and Blue Ridge Parkway, which is about 15 million. This is really interesting. Overall park visits, Golden Gate is #1 there at 15 million. I don't think that they're going to claim that in 2020 because of the pandemic. Again, third party develop advisors, you guys are very familiar with this. We're number 34 on that list of metros, right behind San Diego, right in front of Orlando. Tennessee is the state to do business in, just no question, top to bottom, really well run state, great tax structure, very low taxes, no state income tax, great entrepreneurial resources surrounding it. And again, these are all components for small businesses being able to relocate or have a second location in Kingsport. It makes so much sense to be able to do that and have these resources that they can really grow with. Again, regional innovation. We've got an academic village, a university right in the downtown, 7 universities that collaborate into this academic village, regional center for advanced manufacturing, 3D printing, industrial design, all those components. You know, you're 2 hours away from the world's fastest supercomputer in Oak Ridge. And we've got aerospace with British Aeronautics, with the aerospace park in Tri-Cities, Bell Helicopter. So you've got all those components for that. Healthcare is an incredible sector. And literally, I think this is probably one of the only ones in the US that has this type of infrastructure. It's a Ballad Health. It's an integrated system of 20 hospital facilities. And the beauty of this is that a healthcare company can come in a very affordable area, partner with Ballad Health, innovate healthcare in the rural setting that crosses 4 state lines, Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina, and Kentucky, and then have that proof of concept and take that model and scale it throughout the US. Again, Eastman, absolutely phenomenal. They're in every component of the automobile. The circular economy is amazing, right? And again, I can get into that in more depth. 2 slides, and this kind of wraps it up. This is literally, you couldn't lay it out any better if you had planned it, but the way that it is, if you look at the green line, it's the opportunity zone. Inside of that, the red line, we've got the Downtown Kingsport Innovation District. Inside of that, we've got the Kingsport Academic Village. And inside of that, we've got the Downtown Kingsport Innovation Village. Again, all surrounded by these corporate giants. What we're looking at here is sustainability. You know, it's not a double bottom line, triple bottom line. It's quadruple bottom line, you know, because you definitely have the economic component. The social impact is phenomenal. You just have to say Appalachian. Environmental, adaptive reuse of buildings, partnering with Eastman Chemical, you know, sustainable global headquarters, but it's also venture capital, right? It's also placemaking, you know, so those components really make this tried and true. So this was Deloitte in 2019. It's now or never for the commercial real estate industry. Leaders should be proactive and preemptive, open the aperture, embrace and adapt to the winds of change. The next decade is truly beyond imagination. Again, that was 6 months before the global pandemic. It's more true now than ever before. It's my contact information. Feel free to reach out, and you know, look forward to collaborating. You know, this is going to be a great run with opportunity zones, and we're literally just starting out.